But now as I sit here at 31, like I have a beautiful home, I have a beautiful Jeep, I have like, and I work for myself. Like I'm really having things my way. And I have went through hell. I went through some bad times. There were times I had to move back in with my parents, you know. There were, and don't. Hey guys, I hope everybody is doing really well, and I hope everybody's blessed in this lifetime just as much as I am. I'm doing really well, and I am blessed as well. So today is a bad birthday, which is me. I am 31 years old today, and I feel like what better way to kick off my birthday by helping somebody else. I wanted to speak on all my mistakes that I made, um, which ultimately got me to this point. And I feel like this video would be helpful to somebody younger or even my age, because I feel like everybody shows like the glamour, the greatness of their life, the aesthetic, that da da da, but nobody shows the um, mistakes along the road. And like I always say, like life is a journey, and I don't know, I just feel so grateful in this age. I feel so just alive, and you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I am where I'm supposed to be, and all the lessons that I learned, all the mistakes that I learned were worth it. But if I can help somebody else by not making these mistakes, why not? So, the first one I wanted to talk about was loans. When I was young, I got loans all the time, and I would just be like, oh, I'm not gonna pay them back. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? And initially, there was no like, consequences at first. You know, I would just get the loan, spend the money, go on a shopping trip, whatever the case may be. You know, I just was spending that money like, you know, but like ultimately, I didn't realize how much credit, how I didn't realize how credit worked. And it did hurt my credit. And it wasn't until I wanted to move into a different apartment that I realized that, dang, you mess up your credit by being irresponsible, you know? And I just was very irresponsible with money just in general. You know, like I had a really great job. I lived on my own, but sometimes I would pay my rent late, or just wouldn't pay my rent at all because I wanted to shop. I had the money, but I just wanted to shop. I had a really bad shopping addiction, you know, and I feel like if you're young at this age and you got a loan, pay them loans back. And if you got a shopping problem, get some help, okay? Because you will lose your place. You know, you will find yourself in predicaments that you don't want to be in, and that they're all avoidable. You know, your actions have consequences. And just like I read in the book of Buddhism, that karma is your own consequences. There's not the spiritual something out to get you. You did it to yourself. Karma is real. You know what I'm saying? And it's your own action. So your actions have consequences, and I had to learn that, you know. So I would say that definitely financially I was irresponsible, and I ultimately paid the price when my credit wasn't looking the best. Okay, just saying. So I would say that's one of my greatest mistakes, is just being financially irresponsible. And I was financially irresponsible until the point of like, till I was like 28. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not ashamed to say that there were times that I got kicked out of an apartment because I didn't pay. Sorry, no, it wasn't my apartment, it was my townhouse. So when I was 18, I moved um, to a town, and I got my own apartment, and I lived there for like 4 years or so. And then after that, I got a townhouse. Now, when I got to this townhouse, I was just partying it up. I just did not care. You know what I mean? I would go out every day, and I would literally go out from maybe like 10 p.m. until like 6 a.m. the next day and go to work. You know what I mean? And it was like a repeat, a repeat. You know what I'm saying? And I was just chasing after an N word anyway. an old one too. We'll get into that in a second, friend. Hold on. So, you know what I mean? And like during that time, I feel like I got myself into a depression to where I would just quit my job sometimes. Like one day I would just wake up and be like, I don't want to go to work. And I wouldn't. Or I would be like, I don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to get up. I just want to sleep a little bit longer. And I wouldn't go to work. Sometimes I wouldn't even call to let them know I wasn't coming. I would just be a no-show. You know, things like that. And I just was so financially irresponsible. And I got kicked out of that house because I stopped paying, paying the bills. And you know what I mean? It was like I had the money, but it was like I was just too focused on partying and living life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not ashamed to say that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not that same person anymore. And I live on my own and my house is beautiful. But we'll get into the growth in just a second. Let me fix my boobs. Sorry. Um, we'll get into that in a second. So, you'll lose places, you'll lose things when you're financially irresponsible. Learn how credit works, learn how it is in the rental world. But I will say these young people these days, okay, they showing out. Okay, they tea. But so, they doing better out here than I was at their age. Because baby, when I was 23, ugh. Anyway, so I would just say I was very financially irresponsible. Now, the next thing, baby, these men. I made some terrible mistakes when it came to men, okay? I would date men who were going to jail, who were in and out of jail. I would just date anybody who really showed me attention, honestly. But I was in a relationship for like a really long time, for like years, but like he was in and out of jail and like it was very toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in a toxic relationship, please leave. The mental place, the depression it brings you, the anxiety it brings you, the self-doubt, the self-negative talking that it brings you is not worth it. Seriously, just leave. You know what I mean? And I would date like older guys. Just like I said, I was the time that I was like going to work at like staying out all the way until I went to work. I was like messing with this old guy. He was like I want to say he was like 55, but like he wasn't even doing anything for me. He wasn't even like, he was just childish and immature, and I would just want to be with him all the time, to the point where I would just stay out all night and then go to work the next day and be like dead tired. And like, I just made bad mistakes when it came to men. And I feel like it was a time where I hated myself, and I just like let myself like go. I just let me fall into like a drinking problem. I would drink all night and every single day with that person, and also with the guy that I was in a relationship for a really long time. I know it probably seems all jumbled up and whatever, but like, try to read between the lines, and if you have questions, leave them down below, I'll answer. But like, it was just like I just didn't pick the best guys, and I didn't even really like respect myself. So I feel like if you're in a toxic relationship, please leave. And if you are in this relationship where you're just so unhappy that you're just not even enjoying life, please leave. It's not worth it. Enjoy your 20s, enjoy them. And I promise you, like, don't feel like you have to rush, That was another one of my mistakes that I made. I always felt like I had to rush. I always felt like time was against me, you know what I mean? But really, it's just like everything has its own time. You'll eventually get to where it is that you want to get to. And your journey is not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. And don't ever compare your life to somebody else, because nobody will tell you their failures. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if it was me, like somebody like me, I don't give a F, because I'm her. In my mind, I'm her. I don't care. So, and where I am now is nowhere compared to where I used to be. And also within rushing, like I rushed to get out of my parents' house. Like which ended me, ultimately I went back, but I'll explain that in just a little bit. But like I rushed as soon as I turned, like, actually I moved out of my parents' house at 16 with my boyfriend at the time, who I was with for like years. That's the guy who was in the jail. I hope I'm making sense, but just follow along, friend. But yeah, I moved out when I was like 16. But then like when me and him became like seriously extremely toxic, I made the decision to move, and I moved about an hour and a half away. We still dated or whatever. Um, I moved an hour and a half away, and I got my own place, you know, and that's where I was being financially irresponsible, not paying my bills, da da da, you know, and stuff like that. But I didn't get kicked out of there, but I got kicked out of my townhouse after, you know, after. I'll explain better later, but people are not ashamed. People won't tell you their downfalls or their mistakes that they made. And my other mistake that I made was losing good jobs because I wanted to stay out and party and be irresponsible. I have had really great jobs. I always have had great jobs. Um, but like I would leave those jobs, and and when I look back, I was like, darn, those were such good jobs. And I know now, y'all know, like, it's hard to find a job these days. You know what I mean? It's like you apply and they don't call you back. You know, it's really hard to find a really good job these days. And find a job that you actually enjoy going to. So I would say that like I messed up with that too, you know? And I just made some bad mistakes. And but now as I sit here at 31, like I have a beautiful home, I have a beautiful Jeep, I have like, and I work for myself. Like I'm really having things my way, and I have went through hell. I went through some bad times. There were times I had to move back in with my parents, you know. And don't feel ashamed if you ever have to move back in with your parents. It's a blessing. I made a video on that. You know what I mean? Don't rush to get out of your parents' house. If you can save money while you're at your parents' house or work or figure it out, please do. You know what I'm saying? So, but I work for myself. I have a beautiful home. Um, I'm just really happy in life. You know, 2 years ago when I was at my parents' house, I couldn't really see the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's like, don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep going. Just keep going. But I'm trying to think of like any other mistakes that I had made. Um, yes, I would say another one that I made was not taking care of myself, not taking care of my body. Um, like now, okay, like I had an accident when I was like 14. I wouldn't even call it an accident. I actually jumped out of a window and I broke my leg and hurt my back and it hurt my head. So until this day, I have issues with walking. Like if you ever see me walking, like it hurts. And I do walk like I hurt sometimes. And I didn't really go to the doctor. You know what I mean? Like, really just take care of yourself. I didn't take care of myself. And ultimately, I feel like that's why, you know, I'm in the position that I am within my um, health. You know, like I have back problems, I have very bad migraines. Um, when I walk, I can barely lift my feet sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, I'm a bad bee. Okay. And I love my body and I love me. But that's one of the other mistakes. Take care of yourself. Go to the doctor. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Okay. Oh yes. And another mistake that I made, getting on birth control. I got on birth control at a really young age. I got on birth control at the age of, I want to say 15. Um, and I was on it for like years, like 3 or 4 years. And I can truly say that I was so depressed. I was not myself. I was always crying. I was always devastated. Like I was super depressed. I was always crying, you know, and I had issues like fertility issues and stuff like that. And, um, you know, I would say like, if you can not be on birth control, is not good for you. Don't get on birth control. Just try some other methods. Use a condom for God's sakes, you know, but or look at other methods or something. I don't know, but don't get on birth control. And it made me gain weight. You know, I was like a chubby baddie, okay? But like, if you can avoid birth control, please avoid it. It can lead to health issues, and I feel like I do have some health issues. That's where I think that some of my migraines stem from also. So if you can avoid it, please do. But now that I say all that, just like I said, where I am today, I am beautiful, I'm happy, I am healthy, I am a little diamond, you know. All the mistakes were worth it. All the losses I took, it was worth it. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to lose. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You know, this is life, YOLO, you know. Not everything is going to be perfect. Life is a journey. So now that I turned 31, I just want to say thank you, God, and just be grateful. Every single day, even if it's not the life that you want right now, be grateful. Because like I said, 2 years ago, when I was living at my mama's house, I couldn't see where I am at now. And this is actually the house that I live in now. I wanted this house for so long, and I finally got it. I literally have everything that I want. You know what I mean? Well, I want a mansion and I want a Range Rover, but that's next. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. You know what I mean? And I want to be a famous YouTuber. You know, it's coming. Everything is within God's time. Don't rush anything. But I hope this video was helpful to you, and let's take a little prayer card. Actually, I don't know. So it's telling me to grab one of these. So let's do it. You light a lamp for me, the Lord. My God lights up my darkness. Yes, yes. God really lit up my darkest days. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. People be making mistakes. People be getting evicted. People be losing their car. People be getting repossessed. You know what I'm saying? They just ain't gonna show you. Me, I don't give a F what anybody thinks about me because I'm a diamond in my own mind. And you're a diamond. So, I hope this video was helpful to you. See you next time. Bye.